Hey everybody, I'm Jim and this is Warren, and you're watching Talking Vintage, brought to you by Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot, 502 West Brennan Road, Lakeland, Florida, 33813. Woo! This is show number 37. Is that 73? I don't know. 37 anyways. Yeah. Is it supposed to be this way? I don't know.
We'll see.
Upside down and backwards, yeah. So this is show number 37. Want to welcome everybody to the show. Let you know about some upcoming events that Decades is having. We have our Junk and Treat sale that's coming up real soon. Real soon. Check out Facebook for all the details on that. And then next month is our huge craft fair. And I mean, it was a blast last year. The first one was in October last year. This one's going to be in November. Check out Facebook for all the details there. Yeah, with the sale coming up, we just want to remind everybody we're not offering any discounts, but we do have our discount cards. If you're possessing one of those, we'll still honor that. Today is National No Beard Day.
National
No beard.
Beard. No,
we're not celebrating that.
No.
Okay, in 1988, Roseanne, the TV show, debuted. And then, you know what happened in 1931 to Al Capone? I mean, you were around then, weren't you? Okay. In 1931, Al Capone was
Arrested?
Yeah, for tax evasion. He was convicted for tax evasion in 1931. He got like 11 years or something. Okay, now moving on. How do you know what something's worth?
How do you know?
Yeah, how do you know what something's worth? We get that asked all the time. How do I know what something's worth? The easiest thing to do is do research yourself. You can use eBay, Poshmark, all those kind of things. What's the other one? I can't remember it anyways. Etsy or whatever.
Etsy, yeah.
But you got to be smart about it. If you're using Etsy, that's what somebody's asking for the item. If you're using Poshmark, that's what somebody's asking for the item. If you refine your search by using the filters in eBay, you can find out what something actually sold for. And what it sold for is what it's worth. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you go on there all the time and people, they come in, they bring the piece, I saw it online for $1,000. Well, it's not worth $1,000. Did you refine your search? Did you find some solds? What we call comps or comparison sold items or whatever. But yeah, you got to do your research. You got to figure that out ahead of time, and that'll kind of give you an idea. And you also have to remember eBay and all those platforms are worldwide, and you live here in Polk County. Well, I don't know. Not everybody that watches this lives in Polk County, but we live here in Polk County, so there's an inherent value to where you live too. So just because something did sell on eBay and it sold for a great amount of money and you think you can get your for that same item, you're going to have to put it on eBay to sell it that way. Because if you go to a local market, it's going to be totally different. You can hire an appraiser to give you a value, but I'm a licensed appraiser. Let me tell you straight up, an appraised value is a absolute market value. It doesn't have anything to do with where you're living or anything like that. It is the value as it sits right now, where it's at. I mean, not where it's at, but just as it sits right now. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain that. So if you get an appraised value is usually for insurance companies. It's more of a replacement thing and stuff like that. But yeah, if you take an appraised value of a piece of furniture, an item or whatever, and then you think you're going to get that value for it, yeah, you're going to have to take it to auction. You're going to have to sell it. Try to sell it to everybody in order to get that. Appraisal is a good way to go to get value, but it's not going to. If you're selling it, it's totally different. You could contact us. We'll help you out. We just, you know, if you want the value of something, be upfront and tell us you want the value of something. If you're wanting to sell the item, then that's totally different. We talked about that last week. About buying items or what we use as percentages and like that. But people will often come in and they'll go, what do you think this is worth? And my appraiser side comes out and I say, well, it's worth X amount of money. And they say, well, okay, well, can you give me X amount of money for it? Well, no, I have to resell it. Well, can you give me X amount of money minus $10? Well, no, because I need to make more than $10 in order to do all that. So it's a trap that I think people try to make a reseller fall into. But, you know, if you're asking me the value, I'm going to tell you the value. If you want to sell it to me, it's a totally different thing. Don't you agree with that?
Yeah. Sounds like the Pawn Stars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what they do.
Yep. Okay, and well, pawn's totally different because you
Well-
can pawn it for a higher value and get your item back by
But
paying
most of them
the
don't
debt.
do that.
Yeah.
They want their money.
Right. Vendor corner. I hope you have fall out right now. You should have fall out right now, Halloween out right now, and you should be, if you haven't already, you should be putting Christmas out. I mean, it's selling right now. Fall, Halloween, and Christmas are all selling right now.
Yep.
Right now here at Decades. So I imagine industry-wide you need to do that if you're a vendor somewhere else and you're watching our show. And then the last thing, this is kind of vendor corner or I guess it's mainly for a vendor. If you're in the shop, know your shop. Know the structure of your shop. Here at Decades Reclaim Vintage Depot, we have about 45 different vendors in here. And know what you're paying for. As a vendor, my rent covers the rent of the building and the utilities of the building, the basic overhead. Okay, it doesn't cover anything else. A lot of places will do advertisement fees because that's the same structure they use. The rent covers that. If it wasn't for the fact that I was a vendor here, I wouldn't work as hard as I do, because I make all my money selling my items. I don't make money from the shop itself. The shop is just self-serving. The money we take in is what it pays what goes out in order to open the doors and stuff like that. But know your structure. A lot of people complain about their shop, but they may be under the same structure Decades Reclaimed is, and they're complaining that they pay too much rent. Well, that rent goes for either the mortgage or the rent of the building that you're in, and the utilities and the water and the paper products and everything that they have to use in order to conduct a business. If there's an employee, it has to pay for them too. Understand, they don't think about that. They think that their rent, they could earmark where their rent goes. Like, well, I pay a lot of rent. I think you guys should advertise more. Well, that's not in there. You know what I mean? And then most shops collect a percentage, and we do that here at Decades Reclaimed, but our percentage is eaten up by credit card fees. So now we do okay if it's a cash transaction, but if it's a credit card transaction, that percentage that our vendors pay on each item they sell is gone. It just gets washed out because of the credit card.
What does it charge you?
No, we're not going into percentages or anything,
Okay.
but it's quite a bit of it. It's too much. Cash is preferred, but you can't really say that because a lot of people don't carry cash. But yeah, cash, we get our true percentage out of the cash, but when it comes to credit card transaction, it eats into that. So the shop doesn't wind up overall getting a lot of money that it can use for improvements or for advertising and things like that. That's why we do this show.
That's right.
That's why we do this show. Yeah. Neither of us are paid actors. I know you can't get past that. We should be paid, but we're not. All right. You have anything to add?
Oh, you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
You caught me unprepared again. Do I do a hot?
No, we're out of time.
Oh, already?
Yeah, throw something in there real quick.
Did a joke.
Well,
Do the joke.
The joke. I did the
Yeah.
joke last week.
Yeah, but this is new.
Oh, my
Are you
gosh.
unprepared?
On a joke?
On a joke?
Yeah. Okay.
go ahead.
I'm going to ask you a question here. Is your refrigerator running?
No.
It's not? It is?
No, it lost power.
Is
Not
it running now?
No. Yes.
It's running now.
It's running now.
Well, you better go catch it. You just went down the street.
Geez, no. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I'm sorry. I asked.
yeah.
I really
Hey,
am.
we appreciate everybody watching. This is Jim, and that's Warren. You've been watching. I don't even know the name of the show. Talking Vintage. I did this last week. I couldn't close the show. So you're watching Talking Vintage from. I'm Jim, and this is Warren.
Oh my goodness.
And we're brought to you by Decades Reclaimed
Say goodbye,
Vintage
Jim.
Depot.
Say goodbye,
No,
Jim.
come to the shop and check it out.
Yeah, okay.
We need people to come to the shop. Check us out on Facebook. That's where you can find out everything that's going on in the shop, and on the web at decadesreclaim.com.
We are late. We are running late.
We are. Yeah, people are going to quit watching this show because we've gone over
Yeah,
8
that's
minutes.
it. Yeah, that's it.
They're already gone now. No one's watching it. There's
Okay.
no one because we're past 8 minutes.
That's
They've
right.
all
They would
turned
turn
it off. Yeah, so we could just sit here all day, or really, and
Yeah.
nobody would watch it. It's kind of like the end of a movie when the credits are rolling. After the credits, they put those little
Yeah.
snippets
Yeah,
in or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
I stay for those. I like those.
We should run credit.
This is our snippet. Here's our credits rolling. All right, we got to go. We'll talk to everybody later. See you next week.
Bye.